When making a World War II film, it's a massive challenge. Not only from a budget standpoint. From a budget standpoint, everyone said to me that I couldn't do this, I couldn't make this film because I have no budget essentially. Not only that, but I've a very small crew. So the odds were against me. Um, and so that was a massive challenge. So the most important thing for me is authenticity, and it's not going to be as authentic as I want to be because obviously budget issues and that, but I really wanted it to be as historically accurate as possible. So that meant staying away from cheap, tacky. You see a lot of shorts that have very, kind of crappy, cheap-looking costumes and outfits, or they have a uniform and then a bottle with a modern top on it or something like that. It just lets the production of it down. So I really wanted to stay away from that. So I basically dropped a massive list of all the reenactment groups around in the UK, and I contacted them all. A lot of them were charging rates, were saying that I needed to be involved in a charity, and all that. But eventually I did get through to one. One was the SS Hohenstaufen group, and I got in contact with a guy called Ian Kirkham, who is very well known in the reenactment scene, and had a few phone calls with him where he kind of quizzed me on a little bit of knowledge and what I wanted to do with the project. And he was great, really really nice guy, and he invited me down to, they were doing a show in Papelwick. It's a very small show, but it's just good to really meet face to face. And I considered not going because I knew I wasn't going to get much shot there, and it was a bit of a travel. I think it invested I think it was like sort of 40, 50 quid. I think it was about £30 to get in. Took me, Jason, and a guy called Husto there at the time, and it was probably the best decision I made, purely because I don't think if I'd have gone to it, I would have made the contacts that I did. I made contacts with people in the uniforms, and I made contacts with. I met the guy that was going to be playing Jason Brown, who's going to be playing the lead role of Felix in the film. And so basically, I got talking to him on set, and we made a good contact with each other. And he passed me on to a unit that was just forming, the Match Group, who kind of fitted the script better as well. And then we went from there. And so that's how I made the authenticity from the German standpoint. And then with the US guys, US Citizen Group, a very newly formed group, but the guy called Ben, he works for an archival company, so he's very knowledgeable on the history of war. So I kind of use him as my historical advisor, making sure everything's right of that period. Like the language that's used and the way people interact with each other, the costumes and things like that. So, for example, when we shot the stuff for the trailer, or kind of test shoots, we had a British paratrooper. We shot it because it was really on the day. Like they had the costume there. We thought, great, we'll shoot that. But really, in review, like the British paratroopers weren't really around in that area that much. So historically, it wasn't accurate. So we kind of cut that from the film, unfortunately.
People often say to me, how are you going to do the costumes? It's going to be such a challenge. And I say, reenactment groups, they want to do it. They're passionate about it. And many of them have just split up, which means they're looking for media. So it's reciprocally beneficial to everyone involved. So, for example, we shoot a film with them, they get media.
So in production so far, we've had a lot of ups and downs. We've had a lot of just kind of dropouts that affects the schedules and things. We have, unfortunately, recently we had someone from the US side, unfortunately had some quite devastating news in terms of health, which really has drew that back a lot. So we've had to problem solve a lot. But really what I see this as is a TV series that really progresses from the beginning, before the war, right up until the end and after the war, but follows through different units across the world, um, through key stages of the war. So we can see, like the Italian forces or the Japanese or whatever. But I see it, progressing throughout. But what that's really meant is that we've had to adapt the script to shoot as if we're going to be using the US and shoot as if we can't get hold of them because of obviously specific circumstances. So we'll shoot, as if it's like the standalone episode that would happen anyway with the Germans. We'll shoot that. But really, yeah, it's been an ongoing problem-solving thing. Yeah.